Hi everyone, this is Abel. Welcome back to my channel. 2025 is here and we shall start the year with a bang. In this video we have a ton of amazing books to talk about. We have previews, reading updates, a book haul, and at the very end the cover reveal for my own novel The Crimson Fire, releasing at the end of April 2025. Yeah, it's a huge one, a big one, a really interesting video. So let's get ready. But before we start, remember that if you enjoy science fiction and fantasy books, this is the perfect place for you. So if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, leave a like, share this video. Thank you. The Wingspan of Treason by Lamia and Bayen. This one is an epic fantasy with character driven, and it's also politically driven. There's a lot of political schemings and intrigue in this one. It has been released at the end of last year, and I really hope I'm going to have a chance to read it during 2025 because it looks absolutely gorgeous and really interesting. The protagonist is a prince that is being forced to flee his own country because of some kind of conspiracy. And because his parents, they really don't like him anymore, or maybe they never actually liked him. There's some kind of conspiracy. His life is at risk and he has to flee. The only place that may be a refuge for him is a neighboring country, but that place is also still dealing with the consequences of a conflict with the country where this prince comes from. So there is a really interesting conflict there. Looks like the setting of the novel is mainly a desert setting, and it's really nice for me because I like the aesthetic of a desert setting. Of course, everybody loves the dune, the kind of complicated, really interesting world building with different layers, different kind of communities and religions and the cultures. And it looks like this novel, which is quite long, I think it's more than 600 pages long, has that kind of layered world building and really complicated plot, even if it says that it's character driven. So let's see how it works. And there are particles floating in the desert that influence people. There's also really dangers, and it says that he has to struggle with the protagonist has to struggle with his inherent heritage and to deal with the new culture that could be give him refuge. And I'm pretty sure this will be the beginning of a larger political conflict. It looks like it's really interesting. I've seen a book trailer. I see if it is around here on Booktube, and if I can link it on the description box down below, because the narration on that book trailer is amazing. I don't know if the author is already working on some kind of an audiobook. If she's doing it, yeah, that voice is amazing. I can't wait to read it really soon, hopefully really soon, and tell you what I think about it, because when there's political streaming and backstabbing and betrayal and also some kind of deep character exploration, that's the kind of work, that's the kind of story that really works for me. And yeah, you should absolutely check it out for yourself and let me know. And if you have already read it, let me know what you think about it, because I'm really curious. The Way of Unity by Sarah K. Balstrup. This is a high fantasy, also a little bit of a low fantasy. It is difficult to judge just by reading the description, because a few concepts are really high concept, but it looks like the feeling of the novel and the vibes of the novel are a little bit slower and deliberate. It doesn't sound like the classic bombastic epic fantasy story that we all love, but as you know, I'm so in love with slow building, character building stories that this sounds really appealing to me. And the cover is weird, also really high on a stylistic level or on a artistic level. This looks like a painting that could be hanged on a wall in my house, because it's so strange, but also so atmospheric. So the concept for this story is really nice, but also really complicated, because it looks like there is this religion that is really influential in the world building and the setting of the story, because they kind of influence the ability of people to feel any kind of powerful sensation or emotions. And it looks like they deem feeling those powerful emotions like dangers, or it's against some kind of rules from their religion. So there's this huge big organization, this huge big religion, organized religion, that goes and tames the spirit of people and their ability to dream and to feel and to try to evolve by learning to control emotions, like we all do by growing up and growing older. And this organization clashes with the protagonist that she's a victim, and she harbors some kind of trauma because of something that those agents from that religion did to her family, and she rises up to try and take away that opposition, the kind of organized religion. The synopsis goes deeper than that. It says what happens after she actually engages in a conflict with that organization, and it looks like the actual meat of the story is in the aftermath of that, when she has to deal with the consequence of the result of that conflict. And that's really weird for me to see a description that gives you so much. Or maybe this kind of setup is really resolved at the beginning of the story and the rest of the story is after that. Let's see how it goes. But I like the way when we have high fantasy stories that sounds kind of believable, because they take inspiration from historical events, but they also try to push on the on the accelerator, inflating some aspect of something that really happened and changing it and making it become the high concept on the story to give us an exploration of something that we already know. Because religion is always really influential in our life, either if we believe in something or we don't believe in any kind of entity that rules the universe. We live in a world that is really heavily influenced by religion, and I like when stories tries to give us a reflection about that and our relationship with religion and people that believe, if we believe or not. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how it is developed and how that kind of exploration, it is part of the actual plot of the story and how the characters move. Let's see how it goes. If you have read this one, let me know, because I think this one was published in 2023 and it was a finalist maybe in the SPFBO a couple of years ago. So I think it's well known and pretty well beloved. So if you have read it, let me know what you think about it. And yeah, I'll let you know what I think about it after I read it. Now let's talk about Torth, a series by Abel Goldsmith, a 6-book series. I think the last one will be published in May 2025. If we will have more, please, Abby, if you're watching this video, feel free to correct me. This is an action-packed epic space opera set in a distant future where we have government reading the minds of all the people. So it's kind of dystopian, where everyone's mind can be actually read, and to an extent I think controlled too. The protagonist is a young guy that has a neurodegenerative condition, but he's that smart, is that kind of super genius that he actually was able to create some kind of a medicine to cure his disease, or actually stop the degenerative process to an extent, because you see in the cover that he flies on this kind of chair. What they don't know is that the government doesn't know is that that medicine I think it gave him the ability to become even smarter. Like, his mind is faster than any kind of supercomputer that they have in that distant future. And he's trying to stop the government to flee and to be free and independent from that kind of dystopian kind of influence by the government, because there's some kind of secret and the government is working and actually guided by other very young super geniuses like him. And one of those, it says it's a teenage girl, which is really evil. He's trying to reverse engineering a few mass destruction weapons that they have to actually use it to impose even worse government. And yes, the concept is really interesting, because I really want to know how the protagonist is actually able to shield his mind from the influence of the mind readers from the government, and how the story works, how he becomes part of the, I think, rebellion. And it sounds like the protagonist is this gray protagonist, which is inherently able to do terrible things to achieve his goals. And the settings and the covers and the vibes that this story gives me are really, really interesting. I checked the first book a few months ago. The writing style is really interesting. The way chapters are plot, it's really smart. You can tell that I can tell, I think, that this was designed to be read in that episodic format, but it is also flows really well in the novel format. So I think there has been some kind of work done to make it work and flow properly as a novel. I'm really curious to see that, how it works on a novel format. You have an audiobooks editions for this one too. So yeah, really curious if you have read this, because as I told you, this is a hugely popular series. Let me know what you think about it, and I will let you know what I think about it after I read it. The Drowned Kingdom Saga by P.L. Stuart. This is a very well beloved epic fantasy story that I've been hearing stories and reviews about it for years now, and I'm really ashamed to say that I haven't read even one single line from this series, but I'm really, really interested in trying it, probably in 2025. This sounds really huge, really complex, and expertly woven with a beautiful writing style. The description of the series that you have on Amazon says that the protagonist is a second prince, that he is also a religious leader, and he and the people that survive the end of his own country, which was a kingdom that drowned. So he was an island that disappeared. Come on, it's Atlantis. Yeah. So, and he is trying to conquer a new land. But from the description, it sounds like he's also kind of a villain, because it's not only trying to invade a new land with the survivors from that drowned kingdom, but is trying to impose some kind of sacred holy war to impose the religion, which is a monotheistic religion there. There's only one god there, that it's better than all the others, and he's trying to impose that religion on the others. He has this incredible sword that it's kind of cursed, so it gives him incredible abilities. But the last lines in the description says that he will be forced to try and question what he believes in. So there is an interesting aspect on the concept of the story, because it sounds a little bit like dark fantasy, a little bit of grimdark too, but also it doesn't look like grimdark on the cover. It looks like epic fantasy that has a deep exploration of ancient history. So it straddles a really thin line between really dark stories when all the protagonists and the various characters are all black, or a really dark gray when it is difficult to root for anybody because they're all such horrible people. But in the end, it gives you that little kick at the end that lets you understand that maybe the protagonist will realize that his lifestyle and what he believes in, what he's doing to conquer those other lands and peoples, it's not that good. I don't know. I like layered story when the when the point of view is difficult to understand at the beginning, their motivations, and kind of difficult to root for one, well, but where you slowly understand what's going on and understand their final goal for the arc of that characters and maybe the bigger scope of the entire story. So yeah, I'm confused but also intrigued in a very positive way. I don't know exactly what to expect from the larger scope of the story, but in a good way, you know. My interest is piqued, and I want to know what happens, at least in the first book. The cover, they all look really intriguing for me too, and I've heard only amazing things from very trusted sources. So yeah, if you have read this, because we have 4 books out, let me know, and I'll let you know as soon as I read it. The Book of Never by Ashley Capes. This is a series with 8 books out, and the first one is called The Ember Isle. It has a nice concept because the protagonist has some kind of illness, and he is searching for a way to be cured and to be saved. And there is a mystery about the origins of this specific character, the protagonist. I think it's the protagonist of all the stories. I'm not sure. I will see when I read those. And he's called Never. And just by that, the choice of the name, it's incredible. It makes him instantly fascinating for me. I'm curious to see why he is in that position. And he's trying to, as I told you, trying to search for a cure for his condition, and he stumbles on a map that will bring him potentially to this island, the Ember Island. But he discovers that many people are searching to find the same place. There's some kind of treasure too on that island, and he suddenly finds himself struggling to get to the place before all the others get there. We have a really complex world with a lot of witty dialogues and humors and sarcasm. All the covers are beautiful and instantly give you that sense of swashbuckling adventure, but at the same time really high stakes. So yeah, I want to check out at least the first one. If you have read this one, let me know, because with 8 books out, it means that it's been quite successful. And yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I read it. The Smokesmiths series by Joao F. Silva. We have 2 main novels out and a novella. The 2 novels are Seeds of War and Thorns of War, and the novella is Ruins of Smoke. The description of the series on Amazon, it focuses on 3 characters, so this is absolutely a multi-POV series. We have Gimlor, we have Oberasis, yeah, I can't pronounce name, shockers, I know, and Radnow. They all have different backgrounds and they all have different goals in this mysterious world where smoke, mist have incredible abilities, a little bit like the Mists and Mistborn, maybe. So yeah, it is called the Smokesmiths Saga, so there must be a way to manipulate this kind of smoke and to be able to harness some kind of supernatural abilities by manipulating that kind of smoke. The woman is a single mother and a war veteran, and she's trying, but she becomes a crime boss. She's trying to protect her family. Oberasis is a petty thief pretending to be a god. That's a nice choice for a career as a lifestyle. And Radnow is a mercenary. And it says that he kind of disgraced his best life on his back of his life, and something must be happening. The cover are all really interesting for me. They give you this kind of dark fantasy vibes. I'm not huge on dark fantasy. I'm usually much more fascinated by epic fantasy, but this sounds like something that I will really enjoy. Yeah, because it looks like the world building and the characters are all really fleshed out. So yeah, I'll absolutely check it out for myself. And if you have read this, because it was the best indie debut fantasy series in 2023 by Fanfi Addict, it must be good. It must be absolutely good. So if you have read it, let me know. I will check it out and let you know as soon as I read it. The Fall of Selvandrea by Tim McKay. This novel had a difficult life, and it's up and running again, and really successful as it looks, and deservedly so, because we have a new cover now, and we have it looks incredible. It looks beautiful. You see it right here, and it is gorgeous. I have had the pleasure to talk about the books with the author, to assist him with the cover reveal, and yeah, I'm really proud of this book being up and running again, and that so many people are discovering this story because of the cover. And I myself, I may be able to read it really soon, so I want to know absolutely what's going on with the story, because it sounds like an interesting mix between the epic fantasy tropes that we all love, like, you know, dragons, multi-POVs, and then layered world building, but also superheroes too, and vigilantes, because the protagonist he was in the military, something happens, and he loses his position, probably loses the war as part of the bigger conflict that we have in the stories. And then his position gets even worse. He's kind of poisoned, and he acquires supernatural abilities because of that. And he begins his own personal war to try and get revenge and in this larger conflict. And the end of the description says that there's a dragon, there's supernatural abilities, there's found families, and a war with an evil that people don't actually understand. There's some kind of mystery there. There will be unraveled during the story to understand how and if it is possible to battle against that kind of evil. And that makes it incredibly fascinating and intriguing for me. So yeah, I want to read this one soon in 2025, and you should absolutely check it out for yourself. The Telepath series by Gordon G. Bowman. This is a genre-bending mix of urban fantasy and also science fiction and kind of techno-thriller too. And we have two books out. The first one is Fractures and the other one is Mindbender. The protagonist is a girl from Ottawa, so we have a present world setting. And yeah, the fact that it is in Canada makes it really interesting for me. And as you may know, if you have been seeing a bunch of my videos, you know that I have this kind of inexplicable crush for that country that I want to visit. Even if it looks like they're going through a really hard time during the last couple of years. But never mind, I'm rambling. So the protagonist, she suddenly discovers that she has telekinetic and telepathic abilities because she's been assaulted and she survives, and there's this dark organization that wants to use her probably, but she gets saved and she goes in that kind of tropes that we all love in fantasy settings, and maybe urban fantasy and a little bit of science fiction too, when she gets recruited with the light side of things, with the good guys, and they're supposed to help her understand how to use her newly found abilities. But there is also an element of mystery there, because they're not sure if she's actually who she says she is, because she probably doesn't remember that much about her past. So they think she could be a spy. So there is this kind of mystery side of the story interwoven with the classic school setting that we have when the protagonist has to learn to control and acquire and control new abilities, and then there is the larger scope of the story and the fight with that deathly organization with the bad guys. I have ARC copies, digital copies for this story, and I will let you know as soon as I read them, and you should absolutely check them out. Now, real quick, reading updates. I'm reading 3 things that I cannot talk about in details. I'm better reading 2 novels. One is from author Palmer Pickering that I love very much. The other one is a techno thriller by author Ryan M. Patrick that I'm not at liberty to say anything aside the fact that I'm loving it very much. And another one is by Livia J. Elliott, a short story or a novella that I'm supposed to do something for. Yeah, I said too much. And then for my own enjoyment, I'm reading Heliotrope by Palmer Pickering, an epic fantasy story, a slow burn, character-driven story that I'm loving very much because Taleo is an incredible protagonist. And then I'm reading Molten Flux by Jonathan Weiss. And I hope to give you reviews, in detail reviews for all of those pretty soon. Also, I'm trying to integrate in my videos a little bit of a book haul too, because it becomes increasingly difficult for me to dedicate an entire video for book hauls, because I'm receiving a ton of books for reviews by authors, and I'm always happy and super grateful to get those gorgeous books to review. But it takes me so much time to shot and video and edit my videos that it becomes difficult to dedicate an entire video to book haul. So I decided to leave the last side of the video to actually show you those beautiful books, because they deserve your attention too. So let's give them a look. I had started reading this one, Reality Check by author Dave McCreery, on Kindle Unlimited. I don't have Kindle Unlimited anymore because I don't have time to invest time on ebooks that much. It's not worth it. I have a ton of ebook arcs from authors, so I have to invest my time on those. So, but the little that I've read on the Kindle Unlimited edition, it was enough to convince me to give this entire series a shot. This is a science fiction series, a little bit of a space opera about a war again between humanity and an alien race. And it's about mechas, those huge giant robots used for fighting those. Their protagonist is a rider. I don't know exactly if it is against the law for him to drive that fast in that kind of competition, but he gets recruited to be part of the army to fight against that kind of threat from that alien species. We have 3 books in the series and it is completed. The first one is Reality Check, this one, with this really amazing yellow fluo cover. And see that the lighting is really strong here. And I hope you can see them properly. This is the first one. The second one is Recall Order. Beautiful. It gives me high and strong Pacific Rim vibes with the blue spine. And then the last one is Desperate Measures with the orange, dark orange, red spine. Yeah, they all look really nice. And as I told you, what I have read from the Kindle Unlimited edition was really promising. There's also an interesting side on the world building about the preservation and protection of younger people, because something happened in the future setting where young people are protected because they have to grow up properly to do certain stuff, and maybe overprotected, so they're really pressured because of undisclosed motivation. not on the close. I didn't get that far in the story to understand why the government has such strict rules to protect people that are younger or teenagers maybe. And it makes it really fascinating for me to understand why is that. And I'll let you know, this look absolutely gorgeous. Yes. And then I have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm sorry if it looks particularly shiny, because I am the kind of reader that immediately has to put Mylar protection on the books because I want them to look really good and pristine as long as possible, even on paperbacks, because I am afraid that they will become yellowed and stained, especially paperbacks, because they if they are printed with KDP, they have that kind of matte finish that it becomes really bad and stained if you don't have super clean fingers when you read. So this is a very well beloved science fiction story, one of the best novels of the last year, and probably the best that Andy Weir has ever written, as far as people tell, because I haven't read it still. But yeah, it looks really promising, and it has this weird dynamic. I don't know if I can tell the shtick of the story, if it is a spoiler, but it is about a survivor, and an astronaut that is a survivor, and has to do a specific thing to survive. And I don't think I can say more about it if you haven't heard about this book ever. If this is the first time in your life that you have ever heard about this book, I don't think it is possible if you are part of the booktube community in any capacity. This is because this is extremely popular. The Italian edition, it is basically identical to the US one. Maybe it is just a little smaller on a format, but yeah, I can't wait to read this one because it looks that good, and because Andy Weir is a great author. So let's see if it goes. Then I have The Book That Broke the World by Mark Lawrence. This is the second book in the library trilogy, and I want to show you the first one that I think I already showed you in another book haul. These are the UK editions. I think they look basically identical to the US one. This one is coming to Italy too, but I don't like the way the Italian edition was formatted and the finish. It is a weird matte finish for a paperback, and I really don't like that. And Mark Lawrence is the kind of author that you want to read in the original language. I know very little about this story, aside the fact that it is a departure from his classic grim dark stories that have made him famous, and rightfully so, because he's an amazing writer. And I purposefully tried to avoid any kind of deeper discussion about this series because I want to read it for myself and I don't want to spoil the fun. And I think that the last one, the third volume, will be published during this spring. I think it's close, or maybe during the summer. Yeah, I'm pretty eager to see how the story goes. It is unusual that the second book is shorter than the first one, because it usually goes the other way around, then when the story becomes bigger and bigger. But Mark Lawrence has never been the kind of author that bloats the story to make it longer. Most of his books are pretty short, so I'm sure it will be amazing, and I can't wait to read it, probably in 2025. And then I have Heir to the Shield by L.T. Howard. Did I unbox it this? Did unbox it? I didn't do an unboxing for this. Oh man, I'm sorry. Because the author sent me this one, and it is one of the rare fantasy story that has heavy romantic side on the story. I'm not huge on romantasy, and I don't know if this one can actually be categorized as romantasy, because the author explained me that the smooching side of the story is at the very end of the book. It's kind of a slow burn, and the rest is a character-driven story, a low fantasy story about the protagonist that has to find his kidnapped sister because there is this ancient evil resurfacing. And so I think I will enjoy it too, even if I'm not a connoisseur of the romantasy genre, so I'm pretty okay with it. And the book looks gorgeous. So yeah, I'm sorry if I filmed the unboxing, but I didn't post it. And I'm remembering it now, months after the fact. Really sorry. Okay, the book anyway looks gorgeous. It's a low fantasy story, and it's been published I think in October. And yeah, if you want to check it out, go and check it out. It looks beautiful in my library. Yeah, I'm happy to show it off. And lastly, for the book haul side of the video, is The Wrong Stop by Rex Burke. This is itself is a sci-fi caper, and as far as I can tell, it is kind of it is an adventure, but it kind to be really funny and really witty with sarcasm and jokes, and has this hitchhiker guides for the galaxy. If you can tell, there's a group of friends that has to face this incredible adventure around the galaxy, and it looks like short and sweet. The matte finish is gorgeous. This one it feels amazing in the end, and it looks really nice and really funny. And the author has other standalone books and series. If I enjoyed this one, I'm pretty sure I will have a new favorite author to follow. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to check it out, The Wrong Stop by Rex Burke. And now let's finish the video with the most emotional side for me, because I've been working on this novel for so long, and I've been working on the cover for my novel for so long. It went through 4 major iterations with completely different designs and artworks. I don't know if you know, but I already told the story in one of my videos last year. I am a graphic designer and I am a teacher of arts, so I was pretty sure that I was able to produce my cover for myself. But I decided to license an artwork and to use it as a background for my story. So the long story short is that I licensed the artwork from artist Kius Design, Kius Arts, or Caius. Yeah, another name that I'm butchering. And then I decided to edit it and go on my own direction to reach the point that I wanted. And I did the typography, I did the main characters, I did the overall design, and the result for my novel, The Crimson Fire, is this one. So as you can see, I tried to get to this to achieve a bold contrast with the red and the black and white, and the vibes of this character looking at the horizon with this strange spire that is kind of piercing, this red moon looming on the place. And my specific goals were to have something that had kind of an illustration that was fairly detailed, but also kind of brush like watercolors to give you the atmospheres of the story. And this is really deeply connected to a specific sequence at the end of the novel, exactly like the title for this first book in my series. It is connected to a specific other scene in the novel, but I didn't want it to be extremely detailed, you know, because as an art director you have to choose which director you want to go. If you want to give more space to the typography, and you know that the UK market for fantasy and science fiction goes in that direction, you rarely have really detailed illustration. You mostly have beautiful typography and logos. And I wanted it to be leaning a little bit with the American side of things too, which is completely opposite. When you have really detailed illustration, beautiful illustration by very renowned and really beloved artist, I wanted to be right in the middle. I worked really hard to have this interesting typography that it is also kind of a logo. You'll see that my name too has this specific work to make it kind of a brand, and at the same time to be approachable by the UK market too, because in the English and on the international grand scheme of things, those are the two big markets, the US one with the illustration and the UK one with the conceptual and typography side of things, and then the rest of the world like Italy, Spain, the Northern Europe, and everywhere where people read in English. I'm really proud of the result and of the character's design that I did for the main protagonist there, the guy with this stuff looking at the horizon, and I'm really happy of the bold contrast that we have of the red. And you can, and I already tell you that I'm working on the covers for book 2 and 3. They will have different colors but the same style. Yeah, I'm really happy. I was really anxious to see how it was received, but we have had the cover reveal assisted by a bunch of amazing people and websites and blogs. The SFF Insider Web blogs, the Fanfi Addict, and then Before We Blog, and a bunch of other authors and readers and really enthusiastic people that have made this cover reveal an incredible experience. If I may say so myself, the book looks good. You can absolutely check it out for yourself. Actually, you can pre-order the book right now. I decided to put it at 99 cents for the launch window, for at least when I introduce the book for you. But you don't have to wait the end of April to read the book, because in the description box you have the form. If you want to be an ARC reader, an advanced reader copy, you can get in ebook, and I will do a short amount of hard copies too that you can maybe read. So if you want to read the book at the end of the month, actually I will send digital ARC copies at the end of January. Just go down there and sign up the form with all your data. Just the data useful for the review. I don't want to know your personal stuff. And then if you want to read the book and leave an honest review, give me your honest feedback. That will be amazing for me, and I will be infinitely grateful for you. And you can sign up for my newsletter too, to get updates about my videos for the YouTube side of things and for the writing side of things, and to get promotions, because all the subscribers of my newsletters, they get all my books in advance for free on digital editions. Yeah, you know it. Now you know it. So go and subscribe, and if you want to read the book in advance, please do so, and if you want to know what you think about it, please do so. Okay, I think it's all I got for you today. Thank you for being here until the end of the video. If you have been part of the cover reveal, thank you so much for your help. It means the world. It warmed my heart, and it makes me so happy to be part of this community. It's been an incredible year last year, and it shapes out to be an even better year for 2025. Thank you. Thank you so much. And remember that if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, leave a like, share this video. And if you want to see more videos right here, right now, I have a video for you about my favorite books of 2025. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.